All right, welcome to the CascadiaSports.net post-game on the pound. I'm Osvita Maraire, and I'm so happy to announce that Brandon Brown will actually be joining me for the post-game from the pound. We're not going to be doing the road games, but Brandon, welcome. You're a big football guy, is what you said?
Big football guy. Big football. It's one of the top, I would say, 3 sports that I really follow, and it's something I, pretty know in depth at least.
All right, well, let's find out because UW 52-3. They beat Arkansas State. So if you look at the numbers, you're like, well, that's it should have been.
Yep.
But it was kind of close early, correct?
It was close early. It was 3 and out for the Huskies, their first initial possession. You heard the boos coming down from the limited crowd here on a stormy Seattle day. But after that, they really took it to Arkansas State. They scored in the next 4 possessions, and they really started to get that offense rolling, which really allowed for UW on defense to pin their ears back with the lead and really attack Arkansas State. And it allowed for the Red Wolves really to never get any offensive flow themselves. So I think the offense with a quick start really decided the entire game.
Now, do you think that was intentional? Because from coach speak, Jimmy Lake talked about, the offense all week. He put it, coach speak as I put it, he made it sound like it just kind of happened. So was there intentionality to come out real quick and really play fast?
Yeah, as you said, they were practicing. They were working on that in practice, I should say, and it really, really showed. They had the intensity. Like I said, crowd was limited, but it was loud enough to really get UW pumped up, and they knew coming in the pressure was on them. They lost to Montana, which is inexcusable. Michigan, you could understand a little bit more playing a big-time conference team on the road at one of the loudest stadiums in the country, but the Montana game at home was inexcusable. So they knew they had pressure, they knew the fan base, they knew everybody was really looking at them, and they came out and really took it to them, and that's what they had to do, and they performed really well today.
And the one thing to help out with the offense was Jalen McMillan.
Yep.
And I think he had 10 receptions for 175 yards.
Yep.
And Lake talked about how his presence opens up for the run game and the other shorter routes.
Yeah, and I loved what he broke down. Someone asked, what is that? What does he bring to this offense? He said, he can jump, he can run, he can, he just listed off every attribute you'd possibly want in a wide receiver. And, he wasn't humble about it. He really said McMillan can really help this team out. I think it was in the first half alone, it was 5 for 153 and a touchdown. And that was coming in today. He had only had 1 reception in the purple and gold uniform before that. So it was a big performance in your breakout game. Hopefully he can carry that over to Cal next week. But he's a threat.
And then the defense showed out.
Yep. They got pressure on Arkansas State. They really took it to them. They finally got the first interception of the season. I believe 2 fumble recoveries, 1 on a muffed punt, 1 scoop and score. So, that's huge. That's 3 takeaways when the team was really struggling. And UW's known for getting takeaways. And Coach said in the postgame that, sometimes it just takes 1. And Julius Erving got his first one. And he thinks the confidence is now there. And usually with turnovers, it comes in kind of waves. And once you get that first one, the whole team feels confident. And you're going to see a lot more from this team.
Feel good win. There was a big crowd and they left because of the rain.
Yep.
It was all feel good. The starters played well and then they scored late, which was actually, we talked to Dylan Morris about that. He said, no, it was actually, it was Buki.
Yep.
Bradley Hines that came on and he said, hey, you know what? It was really good that it was a complete team effort. Anything you didn't like?
It's hard to say didn't like. I'm reserved on how excited, I guess I would say, I am about the win, because this is a team much like Montana you were supposed to beat. Don't discredit anything. You're supposed to come out and beat the team in front of you. But I don't also want to be cautious to overhype Dylan Morris, although looked really solid in the pocket for the first time this season. Did still have 2 interceptions. He talked about it in the post-game conference too. He said he needs to be better. He needs to take away those costly turnovers, because against a better quality opponent, those turnovers would be more costly. Luckily, they only gave him 3 points, but you still want to see a little bit more of a crisp game. There were drops. I get it. It's rainy and everything, but it's going to rain a lot of times if you're playing at home at this stadium. So just some things that need to be tightened up. I think overall you can't nitpick too much on a 52-3 win. I think the most points they've scored since against Hawaii in 2019, I believe. So, it felt good to put up a lot of points and feel like Washington again.
There you go. So it's a feel-good win for University of Washington. They checked all the boxes. So it really is, to your point, is like, now what?
Yep.
So they got Cal next week, and so it's just going to depend on what kind of, how because this is what Jimmy Lake talked about, and it kind of going to depend on. He kept on saying that it was the coaches putting the players in the right positions to succeed. So we'll have to see that. And one note, John Donovan was up on the booth as opposed to be on the. And did you think that had an effect for?
Yeah, I think Morris was the one who pointed out. He said, sometimes it's just a different angle of the field and the plays going on, and apparently it worked today. So if that's going to be a reoccurring thing for the future weeks, then I'm all for it.
All right, Brandon Brown, Masvidal Mara, so a feel-good win by the University of Washington. So thank you all for watching and listening for post-game from the Pound.